Thank you so much, Quickshot and Official, for that entertaining game. And we wanted to start by taking a look at the early game, specifically Crepo, you did, because it was not a question of one team or the other messing up, but more a question of G2 pushing Fnatic into the defensive and making them come up with solutions. Is that correct?
Yeah, that, and I think Fnatic from the get-go was in a bad spot because of the draft. The reason we're going to look at like these clips is because it's really cool how it's all kind of connected and what Fnatic was trying to do to avoid bad situations. So we're starting off with Zed and Mithy were getting a bad base here, so they snug back into the lane and they punish Reckless when he walks up. So that's a mistake from Fnatic because they played their early lane really well. But to solve that, they kind of, I would say randomly, but obviously not randomly. Yeah. They rotated top to add more pressure on Expect and kind of group with Soaz, also to match to the level 6 timing from Perks, again not to get picked off and roam down or teleport on the bot lane. They pushed in top again, rotated mid, and made a pick onto Perks. So it's just highlighting how you can funnel pressure from one lane into the other. And if we compare that to what we saw in the first game of the day, it's on a whole different level macro-wise. But then you see that G2 kind of, they see it, you're like, okay, that's nice. It's
a good one.
It's a good one, cheeky. But they played this really clean, calm and collected style over the whole span of the game that was so hard for Fnatic to fight out of, especially because they had these losing side lanes. Official talked a lot about it in the game. 1-3-1 with losing side lanes is incredibly hard to play. But I really like the way Fnatic solved these issues. Like, they had a really strong early level 1 contest. They lost the lane due to the sneak in from Zed and Mithy, so they rotated top, rotated mid. It all looked kind of good, but suddenly they were behind gold anyways.
Yeah, they certainly were. We saw a lot of aggression coming out from Trick, something that we expected from him. He did get punished for it a little bit, but that was also another very smart play coming out from Fnatic, and we just wanted to highlight this play once again because we thought it was a really interesting mechanic, and it was also very reactive from Fnatic, the way in which they initially approached. They saw, okay, Trick is trying to set up an invade. We see that he's coming because he's just been spotted on a ward, and they just stop, dead in their tracks. And because of his tremor sense, he has no idea that they're there until it's too late, and the entire Fnatic roster ends up getting the collapse down onto him. And that's just, it's so
cheeky.
Yeah, it is. Right. It's so nice. It's just the way they instantly reacted that, you know Amazing was sitting there saying his head was like, whoa, stop.
Yeah.
And then we're getting
hammer time.
Yeah. No hammer time this time. But it's those little gameplay elements, and a lot of it is what we don't even see, like what's going on when we start toggling the vision, how vision pressure is important. At the end of the game, G2 had killed 76 wards in total of the enemy team. Fnatic had killed like 50 in total. So there's a really big vision war going on because they don't really fight that often because it's all about implied pressure. Both these teams knows what's going to happen when they fight. Like, okay, if we meet here, like, X is going to beat Y, therefore we don't fight, so we back off, and it's all a pressure game. And funneling and heaving over that pressure into different lanes is what makes it so fascinating.
And definitely, and the vision and the pressure game and setting up the objective is something we saw by the Baron play by G2, or rather picking off Fnatic to get to that Baron later, and was very nice from them. A very nice line from Mithy to kind of set them up for success in the rest of the game.
Yeah, so just at the start of this, I want you guys to have a look at exactly how the vision is set up. You can see the entire top half of the map for G2 is entirely lit up, and this is exactly what Crepo was highlighting too. The slow back and forth, the pressure slowly working its way in, enabled G2 to get all this vision so that Mithy could come around from the flank and set off this entire play. He lands a multi-man grasping route, forcing Caps to flash very early on, and the rest of G2 are just in a prime position to clean up the fight because Perks is coming from one angle, Sven from the other, and it's just a clean executed fight, all from this very slow and gradual setup that G2 have been working towards throughout the game.
Yeah, and they had a little bit of hiccups there in the end game, but they were able to close it out quite cleanly in this one. And then the question is, you talked about the lane assignments might have been in the disadvantage for Fnatic right from the start, but also the fact that in general they picked a lot of scaling elements, and you wonder, is that the approach you have to take against a team like G2 who loves to go hard and fast straight from the start?
I mean, I think G2 can play all these styles, and I don't think necessarily they went that like hard and fast. It was pretty methodical, but I definitely agree with your point that it is too much scaling. Like double tier and Maokai is complex to play, and you get away with it against inferior teams, but it's one of those compositions that you have this dream team fight in your mind, right? That's how you, like, sometimes you judge plays. Like, you look into the future, okay, we get the Ryze ulti and the Maokai, we have the Peel, this comp works so well. But G2 will never allow you to use that comp. They will just always use minions to scout ahead to avoid the picks. They will pressure multiple lanes at once, and you find yourself kind of struggling. It's very reminiscent of what happened in Season 2 and 3 when all these teamfight teams built the dream comp, but they were never allowed to use it because they got split pushed on. It's like, why is this at top? Why is he bottom all of a sudden? Same thing happened here with G2 Esports.
And a thing or two was, of course, also because of the bans coming out of G2. You don't have that much room to play with and pick exactly what you want anymore because you have to adjust. Fnatic picked blue side, or did you?
I mean, they shouldn't lock Nami.
Yeah,
I don't think. I think you should, if you have like some other picks there, like you shouldn't pick a Nami when you're planning on going for the Maokai top. I think there were solutions for Fnatic. This is probably a comp that worked in scrims against other teams. Because if there's a team that is not as refined or G2 or Splice, like this comp works for sure. You go late game and you win.
And we do criticize the comp, but one factor that actually made things a lot worse for Fnatic was actually Cap. So I was following him throughout the game, and he got caught 3 different times after Fnatic had actually gotten themselves an advantage. So he was just giving away a lot of what Fnatic had already built up for themselves.
Super sexy gank though from Trick in the middle.
Yeah, it was. It was super clean, like, but because we were looking back at the pings, and you could tell that he was aware, okay, Trick is mid, he wasn't expecting it, but following that, Caps did make a lot of mistakes where he was just getting called out of position where he shouldn't, and this is where we're starting to see this rookie player coming into a very big and experienced organization like Fnatic where he's working.
Yeah, it was a pretty snowbally game though, but G2 like broke him in. Welcome to the LCS. How do you feel now? But we're going to see what they do in game 2. Fnatic might come back here, and remember, after the series, stick around for the post-game lobby where we'll be taking a closer look at how the new 10-ban system played out in the games today. But we'll be right back with Fnatic and seeing if they can bring it back in this best of 3, or will G2 take it in a clean sweep? We'll find out in just a bit.
And Barrow onto Caps, a seismic shot, first blood to G2. Now Caps is here. Oh, Trick gets jumped on. 3 members of Fnatic. That was fantastic. Oh, not gonna work out. Strangle Thought catches and prevents 3. Perks gets 1. Running away for Fnatic. It's a double kill. The Winions are all G2 Caps is in trouble. He's trying to bounce the Spell Flux, trying to bounce the AoE. The Nexus turret drops. G2 Esports turn their focus to the Nexus and take Fnatic